Star Music Radio, starmusicradio.com, T-Huny here. And so we have a special guest, all right? He is worldwide, well-known. He's a band leader, a musician, and he goes by the name of Tito Puente Jr. Welcome to Star Music Radio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Un placer de conocerte. My Spanish. We're going to do Spanish 101 tonight.
Oh, yes, please.
So need that.
Yes. Well,
Thank
how
you
are
for
you
having
doing?
me on the show. I'm good. I'm good. We just missed okay, I guess everybody's called it Esias. Is that the name of the hurricane? Esias?
Yeah.
Nobody can get the name of the hurricane. Me being Puerto Rican, I should know how to say that.
Yeah,
so we're doing okay. Just missed us, but I'm feeling great. You know, they're calling me lately Quarantito because I've been quarantined for months already. So I'm just adding the Tito at the end of it. So, you know, we're hanging in there. Everybody's healthy. Kids are great. Wife's great. Everybody's good. Family good. How are you guys doing? How are you ladies doing?
We're hanging in there. I am, working, keeping the station going. Just doing what we gotta do. My kids keep me busy. Family. So definitely busy. How about you, Soko?
I just work and write. That's my life.
Work.
Working and writing. I'm sure you get creative in this quarantine time, but it's really hard for a musician like myself, to get my craft going out there. Simply because I play drums. I'm a timbalero and I'm a percussion player. So for me, it's easier to watch the singers and the dancers all over the social media pages. But a drummer is a little more tricky because I gotta have microphones and all kinds of, whole drum set and stuff. So it's a little more tricky. So I'm being entertained, that's for sure.
I bet.
Yeah.
Need to get one of those taiko sets, they make for kids and just go at it.
Yep. I did. I'm going to order one. And I'm just going to bang on it just so I could entertain people, especially my kids, because they seem to be the ones that like to play a lot. So
wow,
it's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A lot of people think that I have drums in my home, which I kind of don't. I have them in the storage facility. My wife doesn't allow me to play the drums in the house. It's very loud. So, that's it. So Tito Puente Jr., I sit at home and I kind of just indulge in streaming and Netflix and all that.
Wow.
That's about it. I get a pair of sticks. That's about it.
Still make some tunes with that. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I had my first question for you. So you come from an amazing legacy. Your father was a legend. He was the king of Latin jazz. He also said, I don't make salsa music. I make Latin jazz. What did he mean by that? And how do you feel your Latin jazz differs from your father?
Well, yes, my father, the Rey de Timbal, they called him the king of Latin jazz, king of Latin music. He was an incredible icon legend. And those of you who might not know, Tito Puente was an ambassador of Latin music worldwide. And you guys could simply Google his name and you'll find out more about him. I am the son of the Latin king. I'm not the prince, though. I tell everybody I'm not the prince. But my father didn't like the term salsa, or he liked the term what people call today salsa. But the original term of this music is Afro-Cuban music, and that's what he was playing from the 1940s and 50s all throughout his whole career through his passing in 2000. He played Afro-Cuban Latin jazz music. And it was called mambo, cha-cha, rumba, salsa, guanguancó. The terminology salsa came in later on in the 70s and 80s when the Fania All-Stars came together, notwithstanding that they were an amazing powerhouse salsa group and a powerhouse Latin jazz group as well. They had Latin jazz artists as well in there. But my father's Latin jazz style, he took big band music from the 1940s and 50s and introduced Afro-Cuban jazz music, where you had the timbales, the congas, and the bongos with horn players, saxophones, trumpets, and trombones. So he integrated both those styles and he created that Latin jazz sound that he has. I continue that. I perform his music even till today, and people enjoy it around the world. And I'm so glad that I get the opportunity to talk about him and celebrate his life and his legacy on his 20th year of his anniversary of his passing. course, you can see
Oh,
I wear I wear a lot of my father, and
Absolutely.
he's around a lot. But yeah, one of the pioneers of Latin jazz, he was.
hmm, amazing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so how does it feel? You're his son, and how does it feel just to kind of continue on? I'll say continue his legacy. How does it feel? Are those shoes that might seem too big to fill for you, or is it pressure on you, or is it just something that came natural? Like, how does it feel to
No,
be in that light?
they never ask a gentleman their age or a lady their age, but I happen to be 49 years old. I've been doing this for the past 20 years since his passing. And even prior to that, I had a career before my father passed away in playing Latin house music and dance music. My history has records with that style of music as well. Um, Big shoes to fill? Yes, they are. I don't try to emulate or imitate or replace or any of those words that would make it the word nepotism in respect to my father. I only continue his music and his legacy for the younger generation today to remember who he was. En español dice que la gente que recoger de conocimiento la música de Tito Puente, to remember the music of where it comes from. Tito Puente, Celia Cruz, Fania All Stars, the Latin pioneers that really paved the path for the likes of Jennifer Lopez, Mark Anthony, Ricky Martin, all the great Latin acts that you hear today. They were all influenced by Tito Puente, Celia Cruz, the pioneers that really made this music. So with me, in respect to his music, I continue his music, I perform it, and I kind of look like him a little bit, just without the white hair.
Oh my goodness, so
Yes,
much.
yes, a
Yeah, a
lot.
lot of
Look a
people
lot
tell me
like
that. But again, the fans love it, and it's more nostalgic than anything else. So when I do perform, the older folks that were there at the Palladium and remember my father, the fans of Tito Puente, they come and they get nostalgic about the music, and then the younger generation see my father maybe through social media platforms or television or movies or cartoons, Sesame Street, wherever, and then I present that music to them in a fashion that they would understand. Whereas my concerts, I take you through a time journey of the 1950s to the 60s, all the way till May 31st on his passing. It's really a dynamic that's really amazing. And mind you, ladies, that my father did have over 186 albums to his credit. That's a very, very
Wow.
large number. It must be a world record, I believe,
It
for any
has to be.
Latin.
it has to be,
Yeah,
definitely.
for a Latin band leader, I believe. So to perform all his music in a repertoire, to perform in a concert in a 2 hour time period
Mm,
is literally impossible. So
yeah.
I have such an array of music that I can play, whether it be Latin jazz or salsa, mambo, bossa novas, even some classic old bebop jazz. My father did all that type of music. So I have
Wow.
plenty of music to perform for the next generation to come. Hopefully, my kids will
Mm.
take after me and they'll keep his music alive for the newer generation to experience it.
I love it.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
kind of had a question that kind of went right into what you're saying. So you mix many genres of music with Latin jazz, and you've really went on to update your father's music as well for the new generation and make your own sound. What are your favorite genres to work with and why?
I like all types of music. I still have I still got a thing called that they call the iPod. I don't know if people have that still.
Oh, I still have
I,
one.
I still got one. I still got
I
mine, girl. I love my iPod. I got such an eclectic taste in music. Being born and
Mhm.
raised in New York City, I love hip hop, dance music, freestyle house, all types of music, all styles of music, and of course the Latin jazz and mambo music that my father played before me. A lot of people don't know a little childhood secret of mine. I originally started playing drums in a heavy metal band, so I've been to rock music. And
Wow.
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 yeah, a lot of people are like, wow, you play mambo and heavy metal? And I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how to put the two worlds together. So originally, I like heavy metal and rock music. And so I have a very variety and eclectic taste in music where it comes from. You got Tito Puente, and then I go to Iron Maiden and and Aerosmith and all kinds of different styles of music. But I love, in particular, percussion players. The great drummers of yesteryear, the great drummers of the past and the present that we have today. Female drummers as well. My sister, Miss Sheila E., an incredible drummer. Giovanni Hidalgo, Conguero. So there's some fantastic percussion players around the world, but I try to keep their influences into what I'm doing. And of course, I love all the reggaeton and all the new Latin generation of new music that's all happening right now. The Bad Bunnies, the Daddy Yankees, they're all fantastic. I love to collaborate, possibly maybe one day with them. I do get a lot of calls from those newer generation artists that want to sample or have me perform on their records. I have to get a little more familiar with them,
Right.
but I love the fact that they reached out and my father influenced them in some sort of way. So again, I have so many different variety of influences in what I do, and I'm glad that my father's music moves on to generation after generation for them to be influenced by that.
Yeah, it's timeless. Both of, I mean,
Yeah.
you both have different sounds, but you have a timeless kind of sense of music. And I think that big man music kind of does that to people. Like it's something different, but you always recognize it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a distinctive sound. If you ever pick up a Tito Puente record, you could hear that. Wow, that's a Tito Puente record. It's very common and familiar sounding with the horn section and, of course, that rhythm that he left for everybody to dance to.
Yes, definitely something to dance to. Speaking of your song, Mi Socio, I had Alexa playing that for me and my kids the other day. We had a ball. Actually, was listening to the music and your song came on. And I was like, yeah, this is my jam. So we play that a lot in my house. How did that come about? Give us some background on the song itself and the instruments and everything involved.
Yeah, I got to give a big shout out to Rayn. She's a fantastic girl, and to put Latin, Afro-Cuban, Caribbean music into a compilation that has predominantly R&B and blues and hip hop. So thank you for that. I appreciate it, and it's out now. It's called Mi Socio, and I have it featuring a young lady named Melina Almodovar. She's a singer here in South Florida. I'm in South Florida, a Puerto Rican singer, fantastic singer. And we wanted to work with her. My team and I wanted to work with her simply because she was a very distinctive sounding to the song that we were doing. The song Mi Socio is from 1965, the original arrangement, and it was done by the queen of Latin soul. Her name was La Lupe. Very, very popular singer in the Latin music world, Afro-Cuban lady, and she was wonderful and did many, many records with my late father, Tito Puente. I wanted to tribute not only my father on this record, on this single, and of course, the queen of Latin soul, La Lupe. So I asked Melina to do it with me. She knocked it out the park. Big band, we got the arrangement. I went to New York. My family has a vault of about 10,000 arrangements there. And my wife said, hey, why don't we do something with a female singer? Because most Latin bands are usually male singers. And I wanted to do something very different and that my father was very innovative in, which is bringing a female to the front of a Latin orchestra. It's very rare, especially back then too. My father was the first to bring Celia Cruz to the front of an orchestra and make her the main focal point and hear that female voice penetrate through the sounds of Afro-Cuban music. And it's nice that I got the opportunity to do that with Melina and in tributing my father and La Lupe. Mi Socio, we have a video too. Check it out. It's on YouTube. It's Tito Puente Jr. featuring Melina Almodovar, Mi Socio. And again, it's on the compilation with Rayn Jackson. I believe it's called Rayn. I don't know the exact title. I think you guys might have it. But again, I want to thank her for putting it on the comp and getting the single out and getting it out there. So that way, everybody can hear the great Afro-Cuban music of Tito Puente. Great arrangement too. If you hear the sounds of the horns in the record, it's fantastic.
Oh yes.
Sorry.
Marina, they got excited.
They said I agree.
Why? Thank you. I appreciate that.
They do love Latin music though. I will say that. Hey, calm down, boys. Sorry about that.
That's fine. I love it.
Yeah, I know you're discussing speaking on Rayn's Holidaze Volume 2 compilation album. Yeah,
Yes.
So shout outs to Rayn. She's a great person. So yeah, I'm glad that we were able to get your single and play it and listen to it and vibe out. I love the sounds to it, how everything's put together. And I just love the fact overall how like following like your dad did, just having different genres and all that put into one. It's genius, it's genius.
I was, you got to thank my father, of course, for doing the arrangement. That musical style was so innovative at that time in the 1950s and 60s. And when you hear it today, it sounds so modern. And it's stuff that he wrote back then. Just he was a brilliant man when it came to composing and writing tunes. And La Lupe had that distinctive sound too. And now Melina, of course, to me and her tributing those two great icons. It's really something special. We do a lot of stuff in our live concerts, Melina and I, where we perform Celia Cruz songs and of course La Lupe tunes, and we try to tribute Tito Puente as much as we can in our live performances.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I had a great question for you, and it's just because a lot of people, outside of music may not totally understand everything that you do. So you're not just a musician, you're a band leader. Can you tell everyone what being a band leader entails? Because it's not just like, leading an orchestra. It's very complicated.
Yeah, I think a lot of the younger people or just people in general probably think a band leader is someone who holds the baton and goes in front of the orchestra and kind of does the marching. Yeah, or a band leader could be a conductor, somebody sitting in front of a symphony with a stick. My band leadership comes, of course, from my late father, and he was a fantastic band leader in which the musicianship and the cues, a lot of it is centered around what I play, which is the timbales. My father was one of the first percussion players to bring a set of drums in the front of an orchestra. It's very, very rare that you see that in any band nowadays. It's usually the singer or a guitar player or bass player, and the drummer's usually in the back. Tito Puente was very innovative in bringing the percussion, congas, timbales, and bongo to the front of his orchestra. And that way he became a percussive band leader. And that's what I kind of continue with what I do. And it does entail the knowledge of the music that we're playing, the Afro-Cuban music, keeping the time, the rhythm section where it includes the piano, bass, conga, timbal, and bongos. We're usually in the front, and we're featured a lot more than the horn players, whereas most Latin jazz bands usually have a horn player, whether it be Dizzy Gillespie, John Coltrane. They would come and play saxophone and the band would be behind them, or trumpet, something like that. But our horn players accent what we're doing. And I think that's really the intricacy of Afro-Cuban jazz music, is that you want to dance to it. And it's also music that you could sit down in a theater format and actually visualize too as well. But I always end up getting everybody up to dance at the end of the shows anyway. So, Afro-Cuban music and the rhythm of just percussion really is what the essence of what I do and how we play it.
Right. And the reason I wanted to ask that is because I've seen a lot of your concerts and your father's, and it's so energetic and high energy, and everyone is just on cue all the time. And it's just, it's like this beautiful formula,
Yeah, it's a lot of rehearsal. It's a lot of rehearsal, and it's a lot of musicianship. We all got to be on the same page, and the music is like a roadmap. So if you're looking at a Google roadmap or listening to Google roadmap or something, everybody follows the roadmap. And then there's open sections where we can actually do solos and timbal solos, bongo solos, horn solos. But overall, the musicianship of being a band leader is the very essence of why the sound is so brilliant and fantastic and so together, especially with Puente music. I mean, again, as we said before, whenever you hear Tito Puente album, you really are like, your mouth drops when you hear the changes, the chord progressions, and then of course his skill of just percussion playing and staying on time. That's really the key of band leadership.
Yeah. Complicated.
Everyone has to be in sync with each other. And
yes.
Speaking of that, I'm pretty sure you guys rehearse. You have to rehearse. So, like, what do you do to prepare for a show?
Well, I can tell you simply because we've been in quarantine for so long, we need to get a rehearsal going. Got to get my chops back up. Got to get my wrist back into play. That's why I'm holding sticks, just to pretend I'm playing. That's how long it's been. So I hope I didn't lose any of my edge. However, we do a lot of rehearsal. Sound check is a great time to go through a lot of the songs that we feel like we can add a little, accents to, or add a little solos here and there, or improvisations. But most of the show is tight. I've been continuing that for the past 20 years. I try to add some new songs. Again, like I said before, 186 albums. That's a big catalog. Got 10,000 arrangements. So I can stick any song, from Tito Puente in there, and it will be something new for the evening. It'll be a new set list. I try to keep the hits in there. A lot of the great hits of my father, of course, being Ran Can Can and the great Oye Como Va, another famous popular Tito Puente song. I try to keep the hits for the fans to hear, and then I try to add and dabble a little couple of standards and keep the music going. But overall, the rehearsal, I'm dying to get to rehearsal at this point. I think all my band guys, we all want to just start rehearsing, and looks like we're going to end up doing it in our living rooms, or I guess these guys are going to have to come in my house and jam over here, simply because the studios are kind of still shut down a little bit, but we'll get there. And I got a great concert coming up in September. Of course, it's going to be a live streaming show, but we do have to do a rehearsal for it. So that's a bit of good news for just being in the music industry itself.
Yes, that's exciting. Definitely. We'll have to stay updated on that, get the air date and everything. I love to watch it.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Soko.
Oh no. I just had a curious question. So obviously your father's probably one of your favorite musicians to work with, but if you could work with any other 3 musicians, who would they be and why?
I got that question quite a few times this year, as a matter of fact, and it just coincides with what I'm doing, which is I'm doing a 20th anniversary album to my late father, simply because it's 20th year of his passing. So I just finished 10 songs, and I'm finally getting to work with some of the people that I did want to work with. So those questions that you're asking, they're kind of like dreams that are coming true. So I'm working with some great artists that sang with my father originally in the 1950s and 60s and 70s that recorded with him, like Graham Meñique, Senor Tony Vega. These are singers that worked with my father in the past with his albums, and now I'm getting the opportunity to work with them in order to tribute my father. But of course, my sister and the Queen, and I have to say publicly, probably the best female drummer alive today, and that's Miss Sheila E. And I'm so excited to be working with her on a tune on my latest album. That was a dream of mine. So it's great to be working with her. You guys can check her out anytime. You're going to see a lady that could play the drums with heels on.
I grew up listening to her music. So she's amazing.
So I give her kudos, man. She's just an incredible person. She's the goddaughter of my father as well, and her whole family, Pete Escovedo and the brothers. And so I'm looking forward to working with them. And of course, all the other great acts that happen to be singing on the album too. It's like a dream come true for me, because I grew up seeing all these great, fantastic performers with my father, and now I'm getting to work with them. And hopefully we will get Mr. Carlos Santana and me together. And we can finally do something that I've been dying to do, which is we would love to do like an Oye Como Va together in tribute to my late father. So
I'm a big time Santana fan. So
yeah, man, I love Carlos Santana. He's fantastic, and it's just it's really something special. And again, the question's fantastic because now I can actually answer it. I'm finally getting to work with these people, and this is great. And I guess after that would be maybe Mr. Tony Bennett. Love to maybe do something with him. Some of these legendary singers, it would be great to mix with them. And of course, I mentioned the mambo and the heavy metal. Maybe I can get that going. And I'd love to work with maybe a rock band, maybe Bon Jovi or somebody.
That would be amazing.
That'd be awesome. Very creative. Wow. Speaking of being creative, my friend, a friend of mine, she's a poet. She's an author and a bunch of other things. She actually wrote a poem. It's called Jazz in Spanish. And she saw that we were going to be interviewing you today, and she shared it with me. It's called A Tribute to Tito Puente by Lena Fields Arnold. So I'm going to have that on Star Music Radio. And, if you ever get in, all our listeners out there, our viewers, you get a chance, go to starmusicradio.com and take a look to it. I got a chance to listen to it, Tito, and it's a very nice poem. And I'm glad that she shared it with me because I wanted to share that with you personally.
She's an amazing lady.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I'm
Very,
dying
very
to
good
hear
writer.
it. I'm dying to see it. I will check it out. Starmusicradio.com. That's the website.
Yes,
You guys can
yes.
check out all the musical needs. I'm dying to hear this poem, and it's great that my father had some sort of influence in your friend, and spiritually, and of course audibly, with his music. And he was just an icon, a legend, and I'm so glad that people still remember him today, and
Yeah,
and they can write beautiful poems that I'm about to hear. So I'm excited to check that out.
absolutely.
Starmusicradio.com. I'll make sure everybody watching, you check that out too, all my fans and friends.
Yes, starmusicradio.com. We're
Yeah.
so happy that we're able to sit down and talk with you and just I mean, you're teaching us a lot right now about,
Mhm.
being a band leader, just
You
different
think?
things that people, yes, that people may not even know. So, I'm definitely enjoying that. But is there anything you would like to share with us that you haven't already or anything you would like to touch base on that we haven't mentioned?
Yes, I would. I'm not sure if of those of your followers or fans or anybody that's watching, it's been 20 years since the passing of my late father, Tito Puente, an icon ambassador of Latin music. And I announced early in June. It's so funny that the quarantine came and we were just about to announce this thing, but we wanted to do it anyway instead of holding it back because it's something that the fans, millions of fans around the world, have been badgering, I guess is the right word, for this to happen. And that is finally that we are going to have a docu-series slash hopefully a biopic on the life story of my late father, Tito Puente. I think
Wow.
it's overdue and the fans really want to hear it.
Oh,
And I am now working with Mr. Edward James Olmos and the Olmos family on a biopic docu-series on the life and legacy of Tito Puente. It will have
Oh,
exclusive
wow.
content from my family, personal stuff from myself, and of course my whole family on Tito Puente. We're going to learn a lot about him, his history, and the docu-series will not just be a 1 or 2 part series. This will have to be maybe 6 or 7 part series
yeah.
simply because his career is like 50
Absolutely.
Oh my
years.
Oh, yeah.
goodness.
It's a
Yeah.
huge career. So we're going to go through Afro-Cuban music. We're going to go through his beginnings of where he was born in Spanish Harlem, New York, Afro-Cuban style of playing. He played 13 different instruments, piano. Of course, we'll go into the segment where he was drafted into World War II as well. The whole story of Tito Puente and what drove him to become that ambassador of Latin music worldwide and that iconistic figure that everybody loves. Mr. Edward James Olmos was a great partner. We're so happy to be working with him. You guys can go to the Tito Puente Project.com and you can see all the updates on what we're doing with this great movie as well. This will probably come out in 2022, the movie, but the docu-series we are working on now, we're ascertaining footage, exclusive stuff, and you guys are going to see some old Christmas videos and just really great stuff to see Tito Puente, who he was as a man, as a person, his whole history, what drove him. Learn a lot about his family. My father had a sister who he danced with when he was younger, and he had a bicycle accident, and then he stopped dancing and started playing percussion. A lot of people don't know
Mhm.
that. My father was also an avid vibraphone player. He played the marimba and saxophone as well. You're going to learn a lot about the history of my late father, and this is something I've been dying to do since his passing 20 years ago, and I think it's overdue. We've seen a lot of biopics: Elton John, Ray Charles, Queen. I can go on and
Yeah,
on with the
yeah,
biopics,
yeah.
but there isn't one special for a Latin music icon. And I think Tito Puente is the right name, synonymous to worldwide people of all music, of all races, of all generations that are really be familiarized with him. Not only was he in Mambo Kings, the movie, or he played a character
Mhm.
in The Simpsons who shot Mr. Burns. Tito Puente was just world known on
Yes,
Sesame Street,
yes.
on so many different television programs, and people know, oh, that's the guy who plays the timbales with the white hair. Well, not only is he just that, he was also a genius, 186 albums, star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, numerous Grammy Awards, 7-time Grammy Awards, 14 nominations, was very pivotal
Yeah.
in combining races and cultures and creeds to one place called the Palladium in the 1950s, where there was a lot of racism. But my father played Afro-Cuban music, being Puerto Rican, born and raised in New York, living in Harlem, New York.
Mm.
Okay, he brought those people together, all races, colors, and creeds love Tito Puente. And that this is something that's really, really necessary and needed in this country right now. And I hope that this docu-series will bring people at least together to see it. And you could teach your kids a lot too about where Latin music comes from, where derivative comes from. It comes from Africa. It goes to the Caribbean. It becomes something of an overnight sensation in Havana, Cuba, and of course Puerto Rico and all the South American countries, and then New York. Being born and raised in New York in Spanish Harlem, my dad had that blues and that whole culture is just something. He was one of the first Latin iconistic band leaders, Latin, to play at the Apollo Theater in New York City. One of the first. So a lot of that history needs to be told. It needs to bring people together. And I think Edward James almost has a very good vision. Not only was he a good friend of my father, this is a project that he's hands-on with it. And we speak weekly, and I'm so glad that I'm getting this opportunity. And I encourage everybody to check it out. TheTitoPuenteProject.com, and you can see the updates on how our docu-series is going to come together. I want everybody to tune in. And yes, you guys are asking the ultimate question. Is it going to be on Netflix or one of these streaming services? Yes, it probably will. Yes, it probably will. Yes, and the movie will be streaming and all that. It'll be in movie theaters, and we'll do a whole big hoopla about it. So who do we got to play Tito Puente? Everybody said they wanted to be me. I'm not too sure. I'm sure there's some great actors out there that could play my father. But again, we want to get a young Puente, so how he started. That's really what I would like to present in this whole docuseries. What made him who he was? And that's really wanted to shed light on that. And thank you for letting me bring that up. It's something that I'm looking forward to. And again, TheTitoPuenteProject.com. Check it out.
Absolutely.
Yes, you guys, make sure you check that out. Thank you for sharing that. That's I can't wait. I'm so excited. I can't wait to watch it. The docuseries, the film. I know it's going to educate a lot of people, and like you said, it's so needed. Just to have that for people to be able to kind of like look and say, okay, wow, we need that unity, we need that love, we need that more than ever right now. So I'm really looking forward to it. Absolutely.
I want to add that you've also played at the Apollo, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I was asked to play at the 70th anniversary at the Apollo. Girls, you have no idea. You want to see a nervous me? I don't look nervous on stage, but I'm real nervous that night because I was around some of my favorite singers of the world. Of course, Mr. Quincy Jones was there.
Oh my!
Wow, I think Tyra Banks introduced me, and I was there with James Ingram, the late James Ingram, one of my favorite singers of all time. It was just so intimidating to be there. Bob Dylan, Willie Nelson. It was really something special, and I'm so happy I got the opportunity to perform in my city of New York at the Apollo Theater. I mean, that's a place. If you get booed at the Apollo, that's it.
That is it.
And they gave me a standing ovation. I was honored. I started crying when I walked off the stage. And again, yes, it was very special that they asked me to do that. And of course, tribute to my late father, Tito Puente, the first Latin band leader to play there.
Amazing. Wow. That's awesome. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm anxious to see this docuseries. Yeah.
I am as well.
I think, and in the film,
it's something really cool too, because I'm coinciding it with the 20th anniversary album, which I'm in completion, and I'm just trying to get everybody working on it. So when the album comes out at the end of this year, we will probably have a teaser for the docu-series. And then 2021, you guys will probably see it next summer. And 2022 for the movie itself, the biopic. So great things to come from the Tito Puente Jr. camp. And I'm, the greatest thing about this, ladies, is that my mother, Margie, and my brother, Ronnie, and my sister, Audrey, they all gave the blessing for this. It took a long time. We wanted to team up with the right people to do this. And
Absolutely.
We believe that Edward James almost is that iconic, actor and Latino, he's Spanish and he brings people together. He really does. And he was a friend of Dad, which is even great. And then not only that, he's a big Carlos Santana fan too, as well.
Oh, yeah. You can't go wrong with Carlo. He's amazing.
No. And we're going to get him to come into the documentary too, as well. We would love to hear from, how my father inspired him in the 1970s over at Woodstock, and there's so much history. I mean, again, it would have to be a very like even 10-part docu-series. It's going to be a
Yeah.
lot of information for people to learn about. Hopefully, that this will be something that schools, universities, conservatories of music can study from too for future generations to learn about the history of Tito Puente, not only through reading but through this docu-series and learning more about Afro-Cuban music.
Yeah, he bridged the gap, bringing different genres together, different cultures, like you
Yeah,
said. So I think that's
yeah,
definitely worth something that, they should be sharing and teaching and everyone learning in the schools. I agree.
Yeah. And his music
absolutely.
always made you smile.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah,
Smile and
yeah.
dance too.
Yeah, it made you dance, bring your dancing shoes, and I'm glad that he's still that even though he's no longer with us physically, his music still does that. You could turn on a
Yeah,
Puente tune at any time. And you mentioned earlier, you were talking to Alexa, and they played one of my songs. The
yeah.
other day, my friend told me, he said, I got up in the morning to go to work, and I said, "Hey Alexa, play Tito Puente," and it started at 7 in the morning. My father has so many records that when he came home from work at 7 at night, it was still playing Tito Puente music. It was all day.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
how big of a career in the catalog he had.
It's a large catalog. Wow. Well, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Definitely he's a legend. And it's shining through you. And I know you're keeping the legacy going and your kids and your kids' kids. And we're all here for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love celebrating his legacy all the time, and I try to teach my children who their grandfather was. I have a son; he's Tito Puente Jr. the third, and I hope my children remember who he was and what impact that he made into the world of Latin music, and of course, music in general worldwide. I've
Yes.
traveled with my father around the planet when I was a teenager, and then all the way till his passing. And what I saw was something very unique to a man and synonymous to a man that lit up a room when he walked in. He was very comical, very street, very New York, very humbled. And I learned all those things. I instilled that within me, and I try to teach my kids that too, just to be humble. When you're a
Yeah.
superstar like that, you got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and all that, you need bodyguards. Tito Puente wasn't like that. And I think if you can ask anybody, my dad was very approachable, and I'm glad that I can still do that too, because I take that from him. And when I do my concerts, I love meeting the fans and saying hello to them. Too bad about the social distancing thing, because I love meeting my fans.
Man.
Absolutely.
But if you guys come to my concert, which I'm sure after this whole coronavirus, we get the vaccine and we get back to performing live, which is what we do best, I would love to meet my fans and say hello to everybody and tell me a story. Tell me a story about how you like Tito Puente music, or how you might have met my father, or came, or maybe got married during proposed to your wife at one of my father's concerts, maybe celebrated a divorce party or something, whatever. Whichever, but it always makes me feel closer to him. And I love meeting new and old generation of fans, and all colors, races, creeds, they all come out. It's fun. That Puente music is really universal. I learned that simply from traveling with him. We went to the Far East, and they don't even know the English language in as far
Learning
reaches of
music.
Japan. And of course, they love to dance mambo, and they know the words to Oye Como Va.
That's what
So,
we're
matters.
gonna have to cover one of your concerts.
Oh
I would
yeah,
love for you. You guys
absolutely.
got VIP, girls, all the way.
Hey. I
We will be
appreciate that.
there.
Oh yes, of course. Well, I appreciate that, and we appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time on your Sunday, just to chat with us.
I love
Again,
it.
everyone listening, our viewers, our listeners, supporters, fans, make sure you go ask Alexa to play Me Socio, and stream it online and all those platforms. Rayn Drops Holidaze Volume 2, it's on there as well. Shout outs to Rayn. So again, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. It's your girl T-Huny, my co-host Soko Nix, and we are live right now with Tito Puente Jr.
Yeah.
I want to thank you ladies so much for having me. We finally got it together and we did this.
Yes.
Yes.
We were trying for a couple of weeks to get the interview, but I'm
Mhm.
so happy I got the opportunity to chat with you ladies and bring my father's spirit to the world now. I'm going to share this.
Absolutely.
Make sure you guys tune into starradio.com.
Star Music
Star
Radio.
Music Radio, starmusicradio.com, and
Thank
check
you.
it out and listen to the new track, Mi Socio, Tito Puente Jr., featuring Melina Almodovar. And very, very exciting. September 6th is the online concert we're doing, and we'll be
Ooh.
performing that song, Mi
Ah.
Socio, with Melina. So September 6th, just check it out on my Facebook page. It'll be streaming live, and maybe you guys can share it too over there at Star
Absolutely.
Music
Absolutely.
Radio.
Yes.
And again, Nikaya and T-Huny. Is that how you say your name? Nikki? Nikki,
Yeah,
right?
Nikia.
Nikki.
Yeah.
Nikki, love to you. Love to your little pooch there.
Oh,
We got
I got
excited.
two
Yeah.
rescues. Got two rescues. Found one on the
Thank
street, and then the other one, he's a little three-legged T-Huny that was
uh,
in foster care
love
for a
to,
while. So
love to
yeah.
all the beautiful, beautiful pets out there. You know, they're the ones that quarantining too, you know, we all
They
are.
are.
So
They are.
those are your friends. And T-Huny, thank you, baby. I appreciate it.
Thank
I'll lead you
you.
guys off with a little bit of a timbal. This is my father's drums. I
Oh,
always like
nice.
playing these
Oh.
things, and I travel around the world with these things. These are my father's last drums that he played on this planet. But I
Oh,
continue to play them. Over 20 years old, custom made little LPs, and
Beautiful.
again, que viva Tito Puente. Muchísimas gracias para todos los latinos, para todos los fanáticos de Red Timbal. You guys can follow me, by the way, Instagram at Tito Puente Jr. and on my Twitter feed, and of course my Facebook page, and you can see all my funny TikToks. I stink at them.
I saw some of your TikToks.
Man, they're horrible. My kids are way better than me. So you can follow my silly TikToks, and hopefully we'll see you guys in concert real soon.
Yes.
absolutely. You'll be
Eso.
there.
Bye-bye.
Muchísimas
Thanks for being
gracias.
with us.
Thank you, ladies. Star Music Radio, huepa.